Oh, I was astonished and, surprised, delighted, everything you might expect. I honestly, this was not something that I expected, to be quite honest. And so, because in my opinion, the Nobel Prize to Mellow and Fire encompassed all these phenomena that we studied. So that was my sense, and I was comfortable with that. So as you can imagine, I was astonished by this. Yeah, so this morning I was sleeping late, and my phone was downstairs, and we get a call from my son, who calls my wife, Candy Lee, and says, if you get a call from somebody in Sweden, answer it. But they had called him. So I guess the poor people over there were getting desperate, and they started, let's say, all right, anybody Ambrose in the general area.
You sort of know that you're on the list, but you're on the list for 20 years, and at a certain point, it hasn't happened. So there's a chance it won't happen. Because there's many great scientists, and so you might not be chosen. And so you never know. And so was I expecting it this year? No. But it's a lovely thing. And then what I said was that, this changes everything, because it does. The Nobel is just way different than all the other awards in terms of, cameramen don't show up for the other prizes. Let's put it that way, right? Not a bit, nothing. So that's different. And that's the 100 years of history. There's about 500,000 molecular biologists in the world now, and there's only 20,000 genes approximately, and that's spread out over every organism. So the chances that somebody has worked on a gene you bump into is quite high. But they don't know that you're working on it, and you don't know they're working on it. And so there's plenty of chances for surprises. And the surprises are what keep you young in science. And so I am constantly surprised, and my ignorance is bliss. Now we know a lot about all the genes that are in the microRNA pathway. And when we look at who has them and who doesn't, it turns out that mammals are missing a bunch of things that ancestral eukaryotes, that is the organisms with nuclei, the ancestors, all of us, had a very potent small RNA system, and for some stupid reason, mammals have dumped it. It must have to do with our brains. But if you look at the organisms that have the animals that have the super potent small RNA system that worms have, it's scorpions and ticks and coral and clams. And it's the most badass organisms on the planet, right? And that makes our little worms badass. And no one ever thought to use that term for a worm. And so, we are asserting ourselves now. And I was asserting this before the Nobel stinking prize.
The Nobel Assembly at Karolinska Institutet has today decided to award the 2024 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine jointly to Victor Ambros and Gary Ruvkun for the discovery of microRNA and its role in post-transcriptional gene regulation. I was able to wake up Gary Ruvkun. So I think he had a landline. I was able to reach him. His wife answered, and it took a long time before he came to the phone and sounded very tired. But he quite rapidly was quite excited and happy when he understood what it was all about. And he was so enthusiastic, and his wife too, so he handed over the phone to his wife, who also wanted to talk to me for quite a while, and they were thrilled about the prize and coming to Stockholm in December.
It's important to know because in many diseases the microRNAs are dysregulated. You can see it very clearly in many cancers, that the cancer take advantage of the fact that if it perturbs the microRNA networks, it can grow more easily and perhaps metastasize more easily. We do not yet have any drugs to treat this, but we can see that this is an avenue where drugs can be developed.
朋友都知道我是很挑剔的，防晒乳我选 KISS 皇家呵护抗光清爽高防晒凝露。因为它有媲美蓝光神盾的抓藻植萃，保护我在阳光下延缓肌肤老化，维持青春弹力。可以防御工作环境里的3C 商品，各种光源对肌肤的伤害，擦起来清爽不黏腻。我特别喜欢它做到海洋友善，365天，天天抗光抗老化，是我的保养日常。你呢？呵护您，呵护全家人，专属你的 KISS Royal Care 抗光清爽高防晒凝露。